Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video review. This time I'm talking about a newly shown Marvel Legends wave, and this time it's the Disney Plus wave, including 3 of the Marvel Disney Plus shows. This is very exciting. So some of these were shown previously, some were leaked previously, some weren't shown at all, but now we have official images for all of them, as well as they are all up for pre-order. So definitely want to talk about this wave. This has been one that I've been anticipating for a very long time, when it was kind of announced, or I don't know if they officially announced it, but it was kind of teased when they showed the Vision and Scarlet Witch figure after the finale of that season. They showed those 2 figures, but not in package, and they didn't put them up for pre-order. So I think that that's kind of what got the rumor started that they would be a part of a Disney Plus series, and that would, feature Build-A-Figure and everything, which is why they weren't up for pre-order yet. But those figures looked really great, and I was very excited for them. And then there was a leak where there was some in-hand shots of the Winter Soldier, U.S. Agent, and Barnes Zemo figures quite a while ago, probably about a month ago at this point. And then the Captain America and Loki figure, those were ones that weren't shown at all. So this reveal did finally show us those characters. Overall, awesome looking wave, but let's talk about them figure by figure here. So we've got, starting off at the top, we've got Loki. This is the most disappointing figure of the set, in my opinion. First of all, costume choice, they went with something very dull. Of course, I think everybody thought that they would do the costume that kind of the trailers end at. It's the most visually pleasing for Loki, where he's wearing his helmet. He's got kind of the suit on that has some tears in it. It's visually interesting, has like a voting badge on it. It just looks pretty cool. So everyone, I assume, thought that they were going to go with that. So it's very surprising when they just went with this. Not even like prisoner Loki, just kind of like wearing a coat and slacks Loki. So very odd. So first of all, just the overall clothing design choice that they went with is disappointing. And then when you add on that head sculpt is brutal. It's a terrible head sculpt, very disappointed by it. And they've done so many Lokis at this point, you think that they would get a little better, or at least stay par. Instead, it did get worse, unfortunately, which is a massive shame. That head sculpt just does not represent the character. Even in just the face itself, it looks odd. And then when they do the swooshing hair, I love it when Marvel Legends does kind of like flowing hair, or like, it's being swept in wind. I think it looks really cool. And so I respect their wanting to do that with him. It just is, it's a nice way to make a Loki figure different, because we've had a lot before. But it just looks really bad. Maybe if the face sculpt was better, it wouldn't look so bad, but the face sculpt looks weird, and then the flowing hair, it doesn't look like they nailed that, so it just looks very strange altogether. And then just the overall figure is really plain. It's reused from other figures. The jacket in particular does look a little bit, I can't pinpoint who it's from, but I'm sure that the jacket's from somebody. If it's not, that is really the only piece that's new, and the head sculpt, but the head sculpt's really bad. He looks so much cooler in the artwork here, as well as his belt says TVA, and the belt on this one is just a standard belt because they're just reusing the sculpt. So it's very disappointing overall. He does come with the flight stand, the backpack, and the red wing for the Build-A-Figure. And here he is in package. I do like his green packaging, of course, and the logo for his show. And then they all have this little Disney Plus logo on the corner. Then I guess let's just get into the Build-A-Figure. So the Build-A-Figure is the wings for Captain America. Now, they've done this in the past with the original, or the Spider-Man Homecoming wave. They did the same thing where the Vulture's wings were the Build-A-Figure, but the Vulture himself was a figure in the wave. Same thing here, where you don't need to build the Build-A-Figure to have Captain America, but to have him with his wings, you need the Build-A-Figure. Overall, I'm not a big fan of that, just because the wings, although they're nice, and, this would be way too much for just a normal figure on his own. However, the wings themselves aren't impressive enough to warrant a Build-A-Figure, in my opinion. Now, the figure himself with the wings, that could do it, and I would be totally fine with that. Yeah, had they pieced out Sam along with the wings as the Build-A-Figure, that would be great. I'd be all for it. But just the wings on their own, it's a little light for a Build-A-Figure. Now, the wings themselves, I think, look really really cool. They have a nice length to them. I think that the overall sculpt is nice. The silver paint looks very shiny, and I like the way that it articulates. They don't really show it in these pictures, but when they did their live stream yesterday, they did show off the articulation, and you can have the wings bend in and like almost hit the floor from the front, which is very cool. And then the flight stand is a lot more creative than the Vulture one. It's got a neat swoosh to it. It looks better, and it looks like it's a lot better as far as your use for it. The other one really just kind of held Vulture's backpack, while this one allows you to actually have him kind of fly and use it as like a flight stand, just like this, which is very cool. And then I love the fact that you get Red Wing and how he connects. And if you have him flying, he's on a ball joint, the Red Wing, so you can pose him up as to be actual flight. But here's the Build-A-Figure itself. It's pretty light, to be honest. Vulture's wings are larger, and his backpack's larger, so technically you got more with Vulture, the Vulture's wings at least. The only thing that's better than Vulture here is the base. The base is a lot nicer than Vulture's. But yeah, overall, as a set, it looks awesome. And then here's Captain America himself. Figure looks great. From what I can tell, it's 100% a new sculpt, which is awesome. The shield that he comes with will have straps and not a peg, which is great. However, so, you know, just as far as the figure with that, that's awesome. But when it comes to storing his shield with his wings on, you won't actually be able to use the shield that he comes with. But if you use the shield that's going to come out with U.S. Agent's Captain America, that one has a peg, so you can. There is a spot to peg it on his back while wearing the wings and everything, which is nice. Overall, good looking figure. And then apparently, and you can see it just barely here, but the lenses on his eyes are translucent, so you can actually see his eyes underneath. But it looks like that's probably pretty faint. But it's nice that that's a detail there. Overall, nice looking figure. This figure does not include any Build-A-Figure pieces because it's part of the Build-A-Figure itself. So, yeah. Again, would be awesome. I would have no complaints if this was a part of the Build-A-Figure. It's just disappointing that it's not. And then moving on to Scarlet Witch. This is the one. I'd say this is the figure the way that I'm most looking forward to. I think that she looks fantastic. It's 100% a new sculpt, and it really represents her in her kind of final costume look, which is great. Head sculpt looks pretty nice too, and I love the hair. The hair is very full. It looks very cool. She comes with some kind of magic effects that we've seen before. Those are nothing new, but I like the fact that she does come with interchangeable hands that are translucent to match those effects and really make it look like she's creating them, which is nice. Overall, great head sculpt. You've got the mask section there, and then the suit itself has great detail throughout. Very nice. It doesn't come with the cape. I'm okay with that, though. I actually like the look of Scarlet Witch without the cape. Like when I get the Hot Toys one, I plan to display it without the cape on. I think that she looks better just in the show without the cape. So if she came with the cape, that would be great. But I'm totally fine without her coming with a cape. I think that that's kind of her better look. And of course, she just comes with a chunk of the wings themselves. So, all of the figures come with just a chunk of the wings. The only one that comes with something unique is Loki, because he comes with all the kind of accessories for the wings, basically. And then we have U.S. Agent. This is in his black costume, kind of from the end of the show. Now, I'm a little confused, because when I watched the finale, John Walker, it looks like he's wearing a blue costume in the finale. But then when he's, in the scene at the end where he reveals his new costume, that's certainly black. However, this is different than that suit, because that suit has white in the chest, while this one doesn't. So I think that I've seen a post where during the final finale, that battle, he is actually wearing a black costume that's like this, where it's got the red pieces, but it doesn't have the white pieces, and then at the end it just has the white. But it doesn't make much sense why he would comment on the fact that it's black at the end if he was wearing a black suit before. So I'm a little confused by that, to be honest. So I don't know if this is accurate or not. No matter what, I wish it just had the white and just call it, the very end suit. I think that would have been much better. I think that it looks better with the white. It's more comic accurate. This just doesn't quite seem finished to me. Also, they did announce or kind of reveal in the live stream that the stubble that he has, later on in the show, they weren't aware of when they were making the figure, so they didn't include that, as well as they weren't aware of his makeshift shield that he ends up making. So they kind of hinted at a possible new new version of him later on down the road. So I could definitely see them including a new one with the white on the costume, with a new painted head sculpt to show the stubble, and with his kind of tin shield. Overall, looks like a great figure though. From what I'm aware, this is just a repaint of the blue one, if I'm not mistaken. That blue one's Walmart exclusive though, and that does come with a shield. But overall, looks like a nice figure. It does not come with an unmasked head sculpt, and the Walmart exclusive one does. So if you want an unmasked head sculpt, you do have to get that one. I've got it on pre-order, and I definitely want this version as well. Then we have the White Vision. This Vision, I think it looks nice. The overall sculpt is good. I think that it must just be reused from another Vision sculpt. I don't know why they would do a new one. Nothing changed really in the sculpt itself. But the cape is translucent, which I think is very cool. The thing that I don't like about it is this weird kind of like milky yellow kind of bone color details. It just looks really odd. And I get that they don't want just white, because then, you know, it would look like a prototype. It wouldn't look like a real figure. But including this kind of like weird milky color is strange. I like the kind of more light gold that they did here. Maybe if they did that instead, that would have looked a lot better probably. But this weird milk like unpainted section just for the gauntlets and the boots just look odd, and from what I remember, it's not accurate to the show. I don't ever remember him having that type of look. You know, they might have been a slightly different shade, but they weren't like pure white to this milk or yellowish milk. It's just strange. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that color scheme, but the overall sculpt's nice. Love the translucent cape, and then the eyes I think are done really well. They look a little bit more dead and robotic, which this version of Vision looked until his eyes adjusted. And then it comes with the kind of corner pieces to the actual wings themselves. Then we've got Bucky. Sculpt-wise on Bucky, I think it looks really cool. I think he's got a great outfit. I think that this is, I believe, they were talking about it, that this was the first time that they've had the black mechanical arm at Marvel Legends form. I don't have any other ones, but I thought that they did one before in a 2-pack, but I might be wrong. Overall, though, it looks really cool. Head sculpt looks decent. I think it looks okay. I think that it's one of the more weaker ones in the wave. No Loki, though, of course, but I think that it's probably the most weak other than Loki, because Loki is just atrocious. This one's okay, but it's not great. Now, one thing that's nice, though, is he comes with a pair of fists and a pair of open hands. I feel like when it comes to that arm, or, you know, the mechanical metal arm, we never get anything other than a fist, or actually usually we only get like a hand holding guns. So to get a fist and an open hand is really nice, that you can do more with it, and I'm pretty happy about that actually. He doesn't come with a gun or anything, so I like the additional hands, but I would have liked a gun, maybe his little book, something like that. I think he's a little light on accessories overall. And then I believe this is the last one. We've got Zemo. Very excited for this. I'm a big Zemo fan. Never got a version of him for Civil War, so to get this one is going to be great. I do love the look of his costume in this new series as well. Face sculpt I think is pretty decent. It's a step up from Bucky. It's not great, but it's decent. And then the overall costume I think is really nice. And from what I'm aware, it's a new sculpt. Well, other than the pants, I think the pants are reused. But the rest of it does seem to be a new sculpt, which is quite nice. I do like that a lot. And he does come with the masked head sculpt, which is awesome because I love the look of it, but just very disappointed in how little he used it in the show. He comes with a gun that's gold. He obviously just uses like an actual realistic gun in the movie, but I believe it might have something to do with weapons and toys that they need to make it look a little bit more comic-y. But if that's not the case, I would have much preferred just a realistic-looking gun. But if that is the case, I understand it, so I'll take what I can get. Now, him coming with that book, that kind of the Hydra Soviet Union type of book to control Bucky, I think that's really cool because I don't think that it ever shows up in this show. So just including it with Zemo is really nice in general. And then, yeah, that's the end of it. So that's the whole wave. Overall, I think it's a great wave. Although I love collecting the comic figures too, I probably enjoy the movie figures a little bit more. I'm just a little bit more into those. So having an entire wave that's movie is great. I'm very happy about that. The Build-A-Figure, although I like it, I don't find it good enough to be a Build-A-Figure. So that's the kind of one disappointment with it. Nonetheless, I think it's a great wave, and they, you know, since these are all movie characters and they're like, for a lot of these people, they're either the first time being made as a Marvel Legend, or they have a completely new suit. So in that case, they couldn't reuse a whole lot. I believe Loki and Vision are probably the only ones that they could reuse a lot of. Otherwise, with all the others, maybe Bucky a little bit too, but with US Agent, Barnes, Zemo, Captain America, and Scarlet Witch, those are just about 100% new sculpts, so I can see why they needed to cut corners for the Build-A-Figure, or at least just have the Build-A-Figure be a little cheaper for them. They didn't necessarily cut corners with the wings themselves. The wings look great, but just they're a little lackluster as a Build-A-Figure. So there you go. That's my thoughts on this wave. I'm very excited for it. 2 figures from Wandavision, 1 from Loki, and then 1 from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I do plan to get the entire assortment, and I have it on pre-order. And it is on pre-order now, so feel free to go ahead and do so. Scarlet Witch might be sold out, but I think that the rest are all in stock. Possibly they're all in stock. Let me do a quick check here, and I'll let you know. Alright, so this is just from Hasbro Pulse, but Zemo is sold out, and then the 2 WandaVision figures, so both the White Vision and Wanda are both sold out. So you can get the others on Hasbro Pulse, and then on Amazon, I'm not sure which ones they still have, but I know that they have them on pre-order too. From what I saw, they had Zemo earlier today. But nonetheless, this is a very cool assortment, so I'm very much looking forward to it. So let me know what you guys think of the set as a whole, and thanks so much for watching.